That's a gutsy gal walking up to her ex and saying, hey, by the way, here's Mr. Wonderful, Melanie Durant. Magic in the Morning, 24 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Mike Barrett in the studio. Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well.
Good.
You know, I learned years ago, if somebody says, how are you?
Yes.
You don't say good.
What do you say?
Well.
Well.
Are you well?
I'm well.
Okay, good.
I'm like 400 feet deep well right now.
Mike's Monday morning here joining us.
Yeah. My son was home sick yesterday, so my wife and I try to tag team, being business owners together, who had more on their plate yesterday, and Jen had more. So I stayed home.
That's a finely tuned, well-lubricated family business.
We try.
Yes.
We try. Not always perfectly executed, but as well as we can.
We call this good policies for a reason, because the insurance industry, for those of us that aren't in it, is a pretty dang complex and hard to understand thing. The legalities and this, that, and everything else. But we talk about it here. And Mike, in all of our conversations and all of your years with this, when your dad owned and ran the business here,
Sure. Yeah.
the big thing that people think about with their insurance isn't the policy.
It's how much they pay.
It's the payment.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that? Why do you think we look at it that way?
Because that's what human nature is all about.
Okay.
It's an expense. You're essentially, for lack of better terms, unless you have a claim, you're buying air, or you're buying paper, which is not necessarily a fun expense to have until the loss occurs or a loss occurs. But, making payments and taking advantage of different payment options is something to consider actually as part of the process of obtaining insurance, because every company has, what do they call them when you make installments? Installment fees.
Yes.
$5 or $6 per installment.
So I'm sitting here looking at you and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to ask him this question. It might throw him off kilter just a little bit. You
Let
ready?
me get my balance here.
Does anybody ever pay their annual premium all at once?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
A lot of people do. And the reason being, especially in the auto side, a number of years ago, and I say that Progressive, it really is a progressive company. They tend to introduce a lot of things that are pretty unique to the industry, such as paying in full discounts. And they've had them for a number of years for personal auto policies, special lines like motorcycles, snowmobiles, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of rolled into other companies. So now you can see some companies give a really significant discount when you pay in full on your auto policy.
Is that outside of the fees for the monthly?
You lose all the fees.
Right.
So when you pay in full, there's no fee. So those are never accounted for, and then you see a credit on top of just the regular premium.
Nice.
And it can be very significant with some companies. So that's something that you want to look at as a potential cost savings factor, saying, maybe I can swing paying it in full this year just to get that extra savings. When you start doing a monthly installment plan, that could be $2, $3, $5, $6, $7, $8 more per installment. So you're thinking over the course of the year, that could be a fairly significant cost for you.
Well, and that sounds like it could bode well for those that are seasonal employees, like those that have, say, a winter job. All right, let's say their policy is due this month. Mm-hmm. They don't know if they're going to be at the mountain this summer, and they don't want to have to worry about that monthly payment.
Right. Get it out of the way if you can. Get it out of the way if you can. And some companies have even introduced now, including Progressive, through their homeowners insurance carrier that they have, which is ASI, have now introduced homeowners insurance pay in full discounts. And, a lot of folks who own their homes have mortgages, and a lot of the mortgagees hold escrow accounts where you pay an additional amount with your monthly payment that goes towards the escrow balance that pays for your taxes and insurance. Progressive actually will give you a discount if your mortgagee pays it in full for you.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of cool. Then it's a different discount if you yourself pay it in full. So really cool thing to think about. A lot of folks don't like seeing the additional fees, and I don't blame them. So if you can swing paying the dang thing in full, it's a set it and forget it type of thing, which is pretty nice, because then you run into the risk of missing a payment, becoming late on a payment, having your policy canceled as a result of a non-payment. Then what do you do? Well, that can put you in a predicament. Many times, companies will consider reinstating coverage within a certain period of time,
right?
As long as you have not sustained a loss, and they'll take payment and they'll reinstate your coverage. But let's say you've gone beyond that. Let's say you've gone beyond a typical 30-day reinstatement window. Now you're kind of on your own to have to find replacement coverage, and you have to go to your next company and say, yeah, I don't have coverage. And that can be a whole different ball of wax right there. Some companies say that's okay as long as your gap in or lapse in coverage has not been longer than 60 or 90 days, we'll just write you, and that's fine. But it can put you in a bit of a predicament. And interestingly enough, we talk about insurance companies or many people's perceptions of insurance companies not always positive. Rightfully so. I mean, perception versus reality. It's very easy to see if somebody gets a bad experience. Now that company is on my blacklist. I don't like that. It just scratched them off. They're gone. But there are some things right now that I've seen over the past week, especially with this government shutdown, that have been quite impressive. And that is companies like Progressive and Safeco rolling out initiatives and hotlines to assist those that are employees of the federal government that now have no money coming in, to help them sustain and keep their insurance, which is very cool. Very cool.
Well, it is. I mean, it's what's the word they use? Unprecedented?
Somewhat, yeah. Very progressive.
Overused in 2012, right?
But, some credit card companies have been doing that too, and I think that's a wonderful thing because it can really put you in a situation where you have a lapse in coverage, and now you're in the catch-22 of, well, now I can get insurance, but nowhere near what I was paying before. It's going to be tons more. So it's something that I like that I've seen. I don't think we have that many federal employees that are impacted locally, but of course these are national carriers, and I'm sure they have their fair share of federal employees that are insured with them. So,
but we sure do have a lot of seasonal workers out there. Like we've got the lumberjacks. A lot of the work that they do, especially those that are harvesting white cedar and stuff like that. They can only do it in the winter. That's their windfall. That's their golden egg. And then like we got people in the snow industry.
Well, and carpenters as well. Carpenters, I mean, yes, they can work year round because there are inside jobs to do, but those are fewer and far between. So there could be a period of time where you don't have that steady work, whereas in the summer you are busy as can be and you have the funds. Yeah, if you can swing paying in full. I recommend to everybody that if there's any chance at all that you could pay your policy in full, that you at least look at what the savings could be. And if it's $20, $30 savings, you may go, I'll pay installments.
I'll take the $20, $30.
If it's $140 or more, take the money and run. That's the way that I look at it.
And like you said, set it and forget it. But obviously the insurance company will remind you in time that it's time to renew.
They're very good at reminding you when money is due.
Aren't they, though?
That's kind of their knack.
All right. Good policies. We do this Tuesday mornings, 8:35. If you want to contact Barrett Insurance.
Sure. Give us a call. We're located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Our phone number is 748-5224. Visit our website, thebarrettagency.com, and you'll find us on Google, Facebook, and YouTube. I'll just have to look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right, let's hope the boy gets better, okay?
He's working on it. It's just the normal winter yuck. Is that the right way to call it? Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is definitely. All right. Thanks, Mike. Have a great week. Music for you from Haley Kia.